gonna record about adventure games. Huh?
Is that
This is- yeah.
Is that is that Peter Lorre?
That's Peter Lorre.
Oh,
Wait, I've been calling him Peter Lore.
that's his evil twin.
I've been oh, it's Peter Data.
That's right. Yeah, those are the two. The two you had to choose. You know how you tell the difference? One never uses contractions, but which one? I'll never tell.
Peter B4.
Boy, what a great storytelling decision that was at the end of a great movie. Just
I saw that in theaters. I think.
Oh yeah, I bought that on DVD the day it came out.
You bought that on DVD the day it came out?
Yeah, I was like, I gotta get over to Best Buy and pick up that DVD.
Nemesis on digital versatile disc.
Yes, so I could put it in my digital versatile disc player and watch it again.
Your DVD-P?
Yes, my DVD-P.
This is Quest,
the Adventure Game Podcast. Ben, there is breaking news coming in over the wire.
What's up?
Did you hear that Fox ordered 2 seasons of a Family Guy spinoff starring Stewie?
Of course I saw that.
You're a huge Stewie.
This is going to be week-old news when...
I don't care. Well, yeah, but technically this is one of the first hot takes on it. People will just hear it a week later. So, by now, I mean, everybody's read all the think pieces and stuff, but realize that Ben and I are approaching this fresh. Like we haven't had time to be jaded when all the cultural critics of the day, like when Chuck Klosterman has written his short essay telling us about why the Stewie series is important to our culture here in the 2020s. This is Ben and I just coming at this fresh. How excited are you as a Stewie fan?
Oh man,
you love that baby.
I love that crazy baby.
He wants to kill his mom, Lois.
All right. So, Jess, when was the last time that you watched Family Guy?
I don't think I have ever watched a full episode of Family Guy.
What?
No, really? I can't stand it. Can't stand it. Can't stand it.
Not even like at peak Family Guy.
No. Not initial run, not come back. I will tell you this. Quite frequently in the evenings on Adult Swim, I watch their little block of Bob's Burgers.
Right.
Just whatever episode they happen to be running. And that ends at like 8:30 p.m. with a small block of the Family Guy.
Right.
And I have to reach for my remote and mute that theme song so I can find something else to watch. But I don't even want to hear the strains of the theme song as Bob's Burgers is fading out, because Bob's Burgers is going to end with some adorable song that was, handcrafted for that episode, as Bob's Burgers often does. And I can't even, I don't even want to hear it.
So you don't actually, you've never, okay. Because at least like with me, I watched.
This is uninformed hatred. Yes.
Yeah. Because I watched Family Guy, and like during those initial seasons when it felt like I was actually, because I was thinking about this, as this Stewie news came out. And
it's the news of the day. It's probably the most important thing going on around the world today as we record this.
For sure. I was thinking about this morning when I was reading all this exciting news, and I was thinking about how when I was watching Family Guy during those initial years, and when it those couple years that it was off the air and it was like a DVD hit before it went on Adult Swim and became a huge deal. Like, I remember it was kind of like, it's like, here's a little cartoon only known to like real comedy heads.
Yeah.
Like it had like it's like, it had a little bit of an error of it's like, "Hey, did you know that there's this show? It's called Family Guy." And it's really funny. It has Adam West shows up in it sometimes. He's pretty
Mm-hmm.
funny.
Yeah.
And like, there's this old pervert in a couple episodes. He's pretty
Yeah.
funny. I
And
think
then a
just
younger pervert.
yeah, a lot of
They're
perverts,
two
honestly.
perverts. Yeah, you got two different perverts.
It's a lot of
And then
perverts.
there's a dog pervert. And then just like some regular baseline perverts.
Yeah, just it's oops all perverts. And and so I remember I was just like, man, Family Guy. Yeah, this is a show. And then when Fox announced that they're bringing back Family Guy, it's like, oh my god, they're doing it. And I think that was my first kind of instance of like something coming back and immediately being disappointed by it, because I remember I got so I was like a freshman or sophomore in college, and they before the premiere of the new season of Family Guy, before it restarted to run forever and get a million spinoffs, including the Stewie Family Guy spinoff. Um, I went and they announced that they're going to have the full cast of Family Guy at Town Hall Theater in New York City, and they're going to do a reading of one of their episodes, like from the original run, and then they're going to play the season premiere
Oh wow.
of the new season.
The only thing that could make it better is if Seth MacFarlane sang a song
I wouldn't be like
straight out of the American Songbook. Let's hear it.
I don't I don't recall, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But I remember I was there at Town Hall, and I watched they read like one of the more popular episodes from that original run. And that was, I mean, that's interesting, right? Like to see the full cast like sit down with scripts and read it. Like that's always an interesting thing to see. So that was like that was entertaining.
And I'm still at the level of sophistication that just seeing anyone do a cartoon voice live is like magic to me. I'm like just a kid. I'm just like clapping. It's like, oh my God.
There is nothing
You sound like the dog.
Stranger than seeing Dan Castaneda do Homer.
Yes.
Like,
correct.
I think more so.
Somehow Nancy Cartwright doing Bart is less upsetting.
And Julie Kavner just talks that way. Like,
yeah, that's right.
But so that was fun. And then they played the premiere to the fourth, I believe, season. And I remember just sitting there and being like, huh.
See, I don't know this feeling
this is
from Family Guy.
That fun. Well, yeah, that's the thing. That this was the first time that happened, and then I watched it happen with Futurama.
I was going to say Futurama is the one that that hits for me.
Like so many other things where it's like this thing that you really love is back.
It's back.
Like with Arrested Development, like all this stuff where it's just like, oh, I guess we shouldn't have done that.
You know, I feel like we have avoided like a real monkey's paw situation that we have never gotten more of the critic, because I feel like there was a window. There was a window. Yeah.
Yeah, but like even recently.
Yeah.
Even recently when it's like well, I guess John Lovitz, do you need a little more money? Is that the situation here?
Yeah.
Because it's just like no one knows what a television critic is anymore, so you can't do the critic anymore.
What if he's now a YouTube reviewer? He's now a review bro on YouTube with angry opinions about video games.
And it's a shame because it's like I really enjoyed those two seasons of The Critic. There's some like I'll every now and again I'll get a wild hair and rewatch an episode, and aside from a couple jokes that have not aired well, like aged well, I'll be like, yeah, pretty good job, guys. And
Ben, if a genie appeared before you played by Robin Williams. And he did like some great impression, like he's like a Jimmy Stewart voice or something. He says to you, he says to you, Ben, I can give you right now in the year 2026 8 more episodes of The Critic produced in 2026 with some of the original
you're the devil.
Team. Would you accept this wish, or would you think you were being tricked by a genie?
I think this would be a classic genie trick.
You would say no, thank you, genie, but you would say give me 6 more seasons of Sliders.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're not gonna mess that up.
No. It's not. They didn't even mess up with Sliders when it was on the air. It was 5 seasons of perfection.
Yeah, nobody complained about diminishing returns.
It's not a show that was mostly good during its short first season and then slowly got worse every year. And by slowly got worse, it's like the second season pretty good, but you know, like there's some cracks. And
Wheels are a little wobbly on that.
The third season, a massive drop, and then the fourth season, worse, and then the fifth season. We don't even have most of the cast.
I was going to say,
anymore.
you start to realize how little of the cast you need to produce the same low quality of episodes. It's like, why are we paying all these people to make garbage when we can make garbage without them?
It's like Sliders becomes like a ship of Theseus if the ship of Theseus was made out of toilet paper.
It was barely floating to begin.
It was absorbing all the water and sinking, and people are just like getting more toilet paper and like frantically putting it on top of the ship, which is only making it heavier and sinking it faster.
Wow, that's this is the discussion I wanted to have. I thought, I'm recording my adventure game podcast. I've got to get Ben's take on Stewie, and I'm glad we got to this place because we don't talk enough about Sliders on this channel, on this podcast, which is
Sliders was the first internet community that I was really in.
Mm-hmm.
And
did that fan community have a name, like with fans of it
known as
I don't
think
slide heads, slide rules?
No, that would have been funny though. I'll have to ask. There's one person of all of the internet friends I made at the time. There's one person I'm still in touch with, and I'm and I could reach out to him, but I'm pretty sure. I'd have to shoot him a message, but I'm pretty sure that we didn't have like a cute nickname for ourselves. But like the Sliders fan community on the Dominion boards on sci-fi.com or like the sci-fi channel, like and actually it's even more complicated than that, but let's not sweat the details here. But like that community, like, that was my entree onto, like, that was the first one I was really into as like a young teenager. And it is, so like I'll always have that. I'll always have the alternate dimension of Paris.
Wow. When you used to use that forum, was there any kind of like private messaging feature on that forum? Like, were you able to like directly?
Well, no, but we all had each other's ICQ numbers.
Okay, so there was a way to slide into each other's DMs.
Slide into each other's ICQs. Do you remember? And maybe I talked about this on the Hypnospace. You had an ICQ, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was on my webpage, my Space Quest webpage. If you need to contact me for like, and this is what's sad, Ben. I would get like on the average day, a couple of ICQ messages, like with requests for Space Quest hints. Just some like randos, just like, I need to know how to beat the data quarter puzzle. I was on call. I was on retainer 24/7.
Um,
Uh-oh.
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 ICQ, for those of you that don't know, that was an early internet chatting service.
Imagine a daisy.
Yeah.
It's green.
But it changes color, spins
That's
around
right.
as it lights
Yeah.
up. But ICQ, yeah, no, that got me into ICQ, and
Icy Wiener? That's from Futurama.
very good. And uh do you remember, and again, maybe I talked about this during the Hypnospace podcast. Do you remember getting like strange messages from like just like just total strangers, just random strangers would just ICQ you, and it would just be a URL. And back in the day, we didn't have like the antibodies to be like, don't click on just any URL.
Nobody sent you a good URL. Yeah, like whatever they've sent you is not good.
And but what they would, these random websites that they would send you would just be like a GeoCities site that was playing a MIDI and had a bunch of like dancing GIFs on it, and it would just be like, welcome to my cool website.
Why did we leave this behind?
We left a lot behind.
I mean, have you seen the internet lately? It's a mess. People say anything on it.
Just clicking random links from ICQs and you click on them, and it goes to a website where it's playing the MIDI for Mambo number 5, and you just see like a bunch of Java script or what was the Java, like the animation stuff?
Yeah, just like anime GIFs. And 100% penis free.
Oh, not a penis insight.
Yeah, that's the ICQ random link promise.
Yeah, this was before. You would not
technology to take a photo of a penis.
We didn't even know about Goatsy. It was
or
not
penises.
Yeah, we didn't know about penis. We didn't know about Goatsy. We didn't know about penises. We didn't know about any of that stuff. It was a much more innocent time. That was actually before penises existed.
Yeah, you had to go into like your dark room, and there'd be a red light, and you'd be like dipping some film into a water bath and like holding it up and like pinning it up onto like a clothesline thing, and you'd come back like an hour later and there's your dick pic. You could it was like serious work.
It was your dick daguerreotype.
That's not a bad drag king name.
That would be a great man.
So write that down.
The one drag king that like I'm buddies with already is pretty well, I think, set in his name. So it's like, all right, well, but like, so I need to reach out. It's like, hey, do you have any friends that are like kind of kind of thinking about it, because I got.
I'm willing to sell this. I'm willing to sell this. I'll license it to you.
Their friends are probably broke. Like, I'll give it to you for a drink. Like, buy me a beer.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Because I think that one has legs.
Yeah, dick daguerreotype for sure.
Oh man,
that is a good.
Oh man, that's like. Oh man, that's next level though.
Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reach out. I'm gonna have to reach out to my buddy and be like, I got one. I got one for you. Ben, you haven't talked to me in like a year. What's up? I've got a drag king name for you. Yeah. Ben, I have a drag king name. And you haven't spoken to me in a year.
Get rid of it. Yeah. It's like, why did you start this out with like SOS 911 and then like 6 sirens before?
Family.
I want to make sure you pick up.
Drag family.
Oh man! Right. Well, you see, we're gabbing like we don't have a great game to talk about.
We do have a good game
this episode. Yeah, I mean, and we have a good game to talk about, but we can't talk about that game until we talk about the games we've been playing. Ben, what have you been playing?
Yes. You know, if there's one thing that anyone knows about me, just one fact, if anyone knew one fact about me, it would be that I generally do not play games in early access. I wait until I wait until they're baked. I wait until they're all cooked and ready
Then
to go.
play no wine before it's time.
That's right. And so, but you know, rules are made to be broken.
Yes.
And so I picked up a early access game. Sadly, I've not been able to put it down. And that is, of course, the mega hit, the sequel to the mega hit, which itself is probably a mega hit, Slay the Spire 2. Have not been able to put it down. Excellent. It's like...
You've taken it from the video game to the board game to the video game sequel.
Yeah. And the worst, so... You know, here's the worst thing about this, is that so if you are unfamiliar, for some reason, Slay the Spire, it is a deck building, like kind of roguelite, where you're you're climbing up a tower and go from encounter to encounter. Mostly it's monsters that you're defeating, building your deck. And there's, in the original game, there's 4 classes. In this new one, I believe that there are 5. You get more cards, and you get special powers that modify the cards. Blah blah blah. Standard deck builder. Slay the Spire is kind of like the canonical computer game. It's well beloved, and so yeah, as you mentioned, I have a board game version of it, which I believe I've talked about on here, and I've been playing a lot of it. And the board game is a board game version of the original PC game, except that it adds co-op play, and in some modifications to make it to make it fit on as a board game. But the Slay the Spire 2 has co-op in the game itself. And so I had this fear. When the game came out and I saw the trailer for the game where it showed that it has co-op. And I was like, I think that's it for the board game. That board game's not cheap. And I was like, I think that might be it for my board game night. And sure enough, so last night was my board game night. My buddy that I've been playing Slay the Spire, the board game with, came over, and I have the board game. I have it out. I'm ready to, I'm opening it up and setting it up. He's like, hey, I had this idea. And he pulls out his Steam Deck. What if we played Slay the Spire 2 together? And we played it. We did not play the board game. And I was like, Slay the Spire, the board game, dead in the ditch.
Alas, poor board game. I knew him well.
And so I don't think we're done with the board game forever. I'm sure we'll come back to it at some point. But I played it and I was like, we're not, because it was great. It was great co-op. It was a lot of fun. It was fun. My friend was there with his, we both had our Steam Decks and we were playing it together. We had a lovely time. And yeah, it is so it's in early access, and it has some very cute early temp art, which is very MS Paint. You don't need to use AI generated images for temp. You just have cute
But if you want to, MS Paint I think can do that now, so good news.
Good. But it has
thank you, Copilot.
Little doodles in place, which are super cute. And there's stuff you can tell it's not entirely balanced. There's definitely some stuff that that they're going to doodle with as they play through it. and or people play through it, but like already the like most of it is there, and there's a lot like it's like I'm playing it and it does a good job with kind of the Sid Meier sequel rule, you know, the Sid Meier.
Yeah.
So those of you who don't know it, the Sid Meier, I'm getting ready for the game.
I know.
Right now. The Sid Meier sequel rule is a rule of thirds. It is a third of the game is the same, a third of we took the original game and reworked that, and a third that's completely new. And it feels like they adhered pretty well to that like kind of sequel design idea. And the reason, like, you know, not saying that all sequels need to do that, but you know what? It worked.
And I did. And then there's one.
I'm playing. I'm a great time. I recommend it. Or wait until the full 1.0 is be stronger than me.
Yeah, I mean, Sid Meier left out the important 1/3 of features you take away from the previous game, only to reintroduce as DLC and expansion after release. That's an important part of the equation, I think, too.
You know, in fairness, I don't. People are gonna be like, no, Ben. They're generally in a lot of the Civ games. They're generally pretty clever in doing that, but not doing that.
Yeah,
you know?
not exactly.
Like
it's not like The Sims.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's yes. They don't.
It's not The Sims. Yeah. Of course, now it seems like there's never going to be a Sims 5, so this will never be a problem again.
Yeah. You just. There you go.
Sims 4 forever.
Here's a question, Jess. Should I buy the re-release of The Sims 1? Because that's the only one I have any sort of like fondness.
Now, did this get any did this get quality of life or like?
I don't think I got any quality of life. I think it's the trick is that it mostly works on your computer, and emphasis on mostly. Little crashes.
I have a feeling it's going to be very clunky feeling in its interface and stuff like that. But it's the only one I spend a significant time with either. And I spent a lot of time with it. I really enjoyed my time with The Sims. I wonder if you could go back there.
I feel pretty strongly that one of these days I'll buy The Sims 1 remake and I'll just play it for like 45 minutes and be like, yeah. And that'll be that.
I just want to play it long enough to flirt with Bella Goth. And once I'm done, I'll be like, perfect. We whoopied or whatever it is in The Sims.
I think it's whoopee.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking for, and I'm out. Just in it for the romance.
Well, Jess, what have you been playing?
You know, Ben, I'm going to keep this short and sweet because this is a game that eventually we will absolutely have an episode about. But as you know, I've been streaming The Dagger of Amon-Ra, Laura Bow 2, a game that I deeply love. It is such a charming game to me in every way. Just, I'm playing the CD-ROM version, some really fun voice performances. Just, you know, some of the things that we talked about loving in the Conquest games, I think is there as well, because a lot of the research that goes into the museum exhibits and the like look and interact options, you can tell there's a lot of homework that went into this game. Just a lot of style. But I think what's really struck me during this playthrough that I don't know if I ever quite connected in the past is the role played by Leslie Wilson, who would go on to marry one of the developers of this game, Bruce Balfour.
Yeah.
And maybe a more familiar name to Space Quest fans, Leslie Balfour, who would be Scott Murphy's design partner on the canceled Space Quest 7 sequel. But all that to say, in Laura Bow 2, she voices Laura, your main character. She voices the narrator, and she voices Yvette Delacroix, the French temptress in the game, and puts on 3 absolutely masterful voice performances. Just really impressive work in a way that I don't think it ever occurred to me until someone pointed out, literally on this stream, that they were all voiced by the same person, and
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I mean, and they are very distinct performances. Like when Laura's dialogue is followed up with lines by the narrator, I don't think I would have ever guessed it was the same voice, especially at a time when Sierra's voice acting was oftentimes pretty sketchy. I mean, friend of the podcast, Josh Mandel, does some outstanding voice work in this, particularly as Crodfather Rhubarb, but also he plays Steve Dorian with that crazy pitch down audio. But her work on all 3 of those roles, just fantastic. It's something that leapt out at me that I don't think I'd ever fully pieced together before this playthrough.
Is Dagger of Amun-Ra the best in-house Sierra voice cast?
Ooh, I mean, Freddie Farkas has to be up there, right?
Oh, well, but that's not an in-house voice cast. That's all external.
You mean like, this is true.
Like, so I'm saying people that were around The Office.
Yeah, it probably has to be.
Because King's
Bruce
Quest
Balfour
5
does a great job. Yeah.
not great. And Space Quest 4, I would also say, not great. Maybe one day we'll talk about that.
Next episode.
Yeah, we'll see. And like some others, but like this is another in another, like, you know, in-office performance. And I was watching your stream and I was kind of thinking, like, you know, there's a lot more kind of fun to these performances than some of those other ones, perhaps. Like
everyone's got a fun
that
accent.
Like cheesy cheesy fun. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it is too. I mean, I'm looking at the voice cast, and yeah, this is mostly Sierra folks, all the way down to Scott Murphy, who is credited as Miscellaneous People, which is my favorite song by Pulp. But yeah, this is a fun cast. I mean, Josh Mandel does some great work. Bruce Balfour does some great work. They're basically your writing design team, also for this game. But yeah, Leslie Wilson, later Balfour, as the narrator, Laura and Yvette. Oh, just fantastic. But that's what leapt out at me, having played this game a number of times before, and just sort of this time really stopping to appreciate that. But I won't belabor that because there's a Dagger of Amun-Ra episode somewhere in our future.
Yeah. Did you stream the first game, or did you just skip right to this?
I did. I streamed the first one a while back, which I also love. I think that 2 is a lot more charming in a lot of ways, but I like the setting and the setup of 1 quite a bit. I was actually trying to this is, Ben and I have talked about this a lot, and maybe anyone else out there listening who's ever hosted their own podcast can relate to this. But oftentimes after recording an episode, Ben and I immediately lose all memory of everything we said and talked about, so that when someone later says, "Oh man, Ben, that joke you made about the beans was hilarious," and Bill will just be like, "Did I say something about beans? I have no memory of this." I spent a good bit of time today trying to figure out if we had done an episode on the Colonel's Bequest, and came up empty. I was like, it's impossible to know without going to our archive, and I'm just going to not know that answer. I was more comfortable not knowing. It was just like, I could imagine we did. I could imagine it was a fantastic episode. I can also imagine we have never mentioned the Colonel's Bequest before. Impossible to say.
Well, there is something that we are going to talk about.
What's that?
We are going to play. Well, you can play this on the Wii if you like. We are going to be talking about Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people. Telltale Games 2008.
Yes. So if you're not attractive, this podcast is not for you.
Yeah. Well, or at least the game isn't.
I guess you can hear us talk about it.
Yeah.
But don't try to play it yourself.
So this is what the third Telltale game we spoke about, because we talked about Walking Dead, and I believe we
Famously loved it.
spoke about the first season of Sam and Max.
Yes. Oh wait, and Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh yeah,
Your favorite.
I guess we did talk about that. So
Now,
the fourth.
Yeah, eagle-eared listeners will note that Ben still has not completed his playthrough of that he committed himself to. But
I think that might
nobody's
be the
keeping score.
only. I think that might be the only.
The only
game
promise you've ever
on
broken.
Adventure, yeah. I think the only game on Adventure Tuesday that I never completed.
Is that true?
It might be. It might be.
Wow. So like in a 6-year history, it's the only game bad enough that you were like,
not
nope,
even
can't
bad.
do it.
It's just, it just wasn't. It was just excessively not to my taste.
Yes.
Like, you know, I know that's a game that is absolutely beloved, and it has its real fucking writers, and it's just one that just did not connect for me. But Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people. I did enjoy. I played. I didn't play all of it. I played 3 of the episodes. In preparation for this podcast, you've played all of it.
Yeah, a couple of times. I
And
played it not long after release, and again a few years ago for my channel.
And so just a little context. It is I would say, of what people kind of canonically consider as the Telltale games, it is one of like the first non-Sam and Max ones. Of course, they had like a couple CSI games in there, and Bone in there, though Bone is before Sam and Max. And so like this, so they did the first 2 seasons of Sam and Max, and then they did this, Wallace and Gromit, Tales of Monkey Island, another CSI, and then their final Sam and Max.
Wow, I can't believe there's another CSI out that late in their run.
I think they might have even they did even more CSI.
Wow.
They did a CSI after the third Sam and Max. Let me see if they did. I think that was it. The CSI Fatal Conspiracy.
Oh, that sounds good. Now it's worth noting, you know, for all the people familiar with Telltale out there, this is before they had the technology for characters to remember things. At this point, your choices do not matter.
No,
you're still solving puzzles with inventory and gross old-fashioned gameplay elements like that.
So let's talk a little bit first, because it's like, so this game, there's a little bit of like kind of a very loose kind of like tying of the episodes together, but not really. It's like 5.
Yeah.
It's 5 episodes, and they're all kind of, you know, kind of their own thing.
Yeah, they kind of sometimes set up the next episode at the end of one, but yeah, really they're standalone for the most part.
There's continuity. There's very loose continuity. They'll reference the earlier ones in later ones. I think like the biggest thing is that like the later episodes expect you to kind of have a sense of place, because they all, like, true to kind of like more straightforward like episodic Telltale games, they all kind of build on the same kind of sets. Like the games all have like kind of a variation on Strong Bad's house.
Yes.
And then there's a big field where there's like some stuff in it. And then there's a couple other different scenes. Sometimes you go to the King of Town's castle, and you go to like some other places which they'll redress slightly for other episodes. But yeah, so I mean, I think the big thing about this game is that it is a very strong Um, like it is, if you like Homestar Runner, these are strong Homestar Runner. They feel like
Yeah.
Homestar Runner games.
It's .com. Yeah,
It's
I mean,
.com.
and I'm guessing everyone out there knows. I mean, Homestar Runner, famous Flash cartoon series, begins in the early 2000s, runs through present day in various forms, even now. And there's a good chance if you're of the age group listening to this podcast, you know Homestar Runner, you know Strong Badge, you know the whole gang there. And this is Telltale working hand in hand with the Brothers Chaps to put together a game version of those beloved web cartoons.
Yep.
And I think, in my opinion, it feels like a pretty seamless transition to video game form. And of course, Homestar Runner engaged with video games quite a bit already as a webtoon. So it's no surprise that it works here as well. But Ben, maybe before we talk about the game, I'm curious, like, what is your experience with Homestar Runner? Like, when did you get into this? Were you a big fan?
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, tell me all about that.
So Homestar Runner. So Homestar Runner in I think started in the year 2000, and
In the
uh
year
that's right.
2000.
It was these flash web cartoons that were very like kooky and silly, and then over time essentially the star of it went from the character Homestar Runner to the character Strong Bad,
A wrestleman.
who answered emails in a silly way. Um, I mean, I don't know.
I like this
Like
elevator pitch. No, it's
how
pretty good.
I
So
mean, how
far,
else do
no
you
note.
explain it? But so I think that for me, like, so Homestar Runner is something that has to be observed within the context of the time that it came out, which is that it is a uh decent enough animated flash cartoon. Um and the animation got better as it went along. Which that that came out with full voice in animation at a time when people, at least here in the United States, were transitioning to broadband.
Yes.
And so, to me, in my mind, a lot of the novelty of Homestar Runner, and this isn't to take away from the quality of the writing and how funny it was, but a lot of the novelty of it was to see a cartoon in a web browser that had full voice in animation. And
And wasn't 240p.
yeah,
And
like
like the
didn't look
grainiest, worst thing you're saying.
like this garbage real video file that was like these garbled pixels. It was like these
Yes.
nice clean, these nice clean flash, like, are they vector? I don't know. Like
I
however,
think probably they scale,
yeah,
and yeah, I
like
don't know how those things work. It's
nice
magic.
clean flash like characters moving around with like a good art style and funny voice performances, and that, like, the kind of whiz bang value of it was
Yeah.
what kind of caught my attention. And then, what kept me in it was how funny it was. And it's a very, like, it's very kooky and full of non sequiturs. And it, like, to me, it is of a piece of early Adult Swim. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you watched a Homestar Runner cartoon and then you watched like an episode of the Brack Show, you would just be like, yeah, like they're swimming in the same pool.
Absolutely. I think that is a great point of reference. If a point of reference is ultimately more obscure, probably than the thing you're trying to explain.
Like
Uh,
things starring characters that are kind of man children that have speech impediments.
that's
Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, the Brack shows, I mean, I think right in there. Yeah. That early Adult Swim stuff is a good point of comparison. And, you know, that definitely, I think, is the vibe you get here with Homestar. Like, do you remember what your entry point was? I know mine, I think I probably have the most obvious entry point. I think, seen reference to Homestar Runner like a lot on Fark. Like I'd constantly see, you know, because we were all hanging out on Fark back in the day, fark.com.
so, again, this is an age difference thing. I remember, so I was in high school.
Yeah. I
Um
was in grad school.
yeah, I was in high school. I think I got into Homestar Runner probably in 2001 or 2.
Yeah.
Um and uh I remember because that was also like at the same time that like I was getting into like other I th- I really think that the adoption of broadband and how like web browsers were kind of developing at that point was kind of an inflection point in
Mm-hmm.
how stuff. And so it's like um I started hanging out with like a group of nerds that loved Adult Swim and they loved Penny Arcade.
Yeah.
And so at one point, I don't
Mhm.
remember like I don't remember the specifics of it, but I know that it must have been through one of
Yeah.
them that I was hanging out with,
Yeah.
like these guys that, that were all big like Penny Arcade and like
Speaking of
Adult
which, have
Swim
you heard
fans.
back on your audition?
No, I'm still waiting. And like and so they're like, "Oh, you got to check this out. It's really funny." And I loved it, of course. Like it was so like as I said, it was so funny. It reminded me like it's just so funny because I also remember being like, going up to people like, "Oh, you got to check this out. You got to check this out." And like older people didn't get it
Yeah.
generally. Like
Yeah.
and um and it's funny because it's like, this is kind of now a little bit I would say like a dated reference, but when I finally like sat down and watched some of Skibbity Toilet like last year,
Mm-hmm.
I watched it and I was like, oh, this is just this is just like Homestar Runner or like Yada or like any of the stuff I was
Hmm.
really into when I was 13 and on the
Yeah.
internet. Like I was just like, this is a bunch
Mhm.
of like internet nonsense comedy. And when I was 13, this is exactly what I loved. And
Yeah.
so it's like, oh, I get this. This is just
Yeah.
what this is. I
Mhm.
don't need to go back to this. Like
Yeah.
I like Pee Wee Herman at the end of Pee Wee's Big Adventure. I lived it, you know?
You know, I came into it at maybe the most obvious entry point, which is, you know, yeah, I'd seen references to Homestar. I hadn't really figured out what it was. I hadn't bothered to look at it or anything. And when the Trogdor Strong Bad email came out, my friend from college that I roomed with as an undergrad sent me a probably like an ICQ message or AIM message or something like that, and says like, "You really have to watch this video. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen." So I literally came in at Trogdor, which is
Yeah, no,
probably
I
still,
definitely was in before Trogdor,
yeah.
and I remember that. I remember seeing Trogdor and being like it was just like, "Oh my god.
Yeah. And I mean, that's where it
You
breaks
do
through. I
that?"
will say what I realized immediately, and this is like a weird experience that I have tried to track down on the internet, and I just don't know if this story exists or if I've hallucinated it, possibly. But, you know, at the time I lived in Georgia and I would frequently
Which is
go,
where they're from.
yes, I would frequently go into Atlanta.
Oh,
And
I remember this story, yeah.
yeah, one of my favorite restaurants was a pizza joint called Everybody's Pizza that's just right beside Emory University's campus. And my wife and I have been going there for a few years at this time. And what was fascinating to me is when I started tracking down Homestar Runner, I realized this art style is really familiar. And this website is really familiar with this menu where you scroll over a bunch of oval shaped buttons and it says tunes, games, email, and all this sort of stuff. It's like I've seen this somewhere before. Everybody's Pizza in in Atlanta, Georgia, right across from campus of Emory University. Clearly, the Brothers Chaps had designed their mascots and their website. It was the exact same Flash interface. It was the exact same art style. Instead of Homestar and Strong Bad, you had like an anthropomorphic pepperoni slice and an anthropomorphic breadstick and some vegetables and stuff. And it is bizarre to me that I am a person who saw those characters and was like, oh, Homestar is made by those pizza place guys, which I now have trouble finding any reference to this on the internet. I would love to learn more about this and the timing out. But so that was a weird. I came into this very backwards, but I ended up being like I became a devoted viewer after that. You know, I was trying to think today, like my wife and I both really enjoyed Homestar Runner, and frequently, like a lot of that language is still in heavy circulation in our family. Like we frequently, from one of the Marzipan's answering machines, there's a bit where Homestar gets mad at Marzipan and yells out, "This is garbage, sister." Which we frequently, when we're like upset about some situations, like this is garbage. That one comes up a lot. I like to use the phrase "y'all biscuit heads," which I believe the rapper PCP in this series throws around. A more different S. I like to use the phrase "a more different something" from Trogdor. I say the Ghiblies a lot. There's a line that I use all the time from one of the. It's like when they go back and redo the original children's storybook that Homestar is based on with Strong Bad, like doing voiceover. There's a bit where Homestar says, "Some folk think I'm a terrific athlete," and Strong Bad replies, "I folk think you're a terrific liar," which I don't know why I'd use opportunities anytime I get a chance to say that. I would say maybe like one of the biggest impacts, you know, we said this is a web series that ends up referencing a lot of retro games and referencing a lot of retro adventure games specifically. Peasant's Quest is a huge inspiration on me when I would go on to create StairQuest. When I was when I was coming up with that idea, like the idea of so closely aping the style of those old AGI games. I don't know if StairQuest would have come together if I hadn't played Peasant's Quest, which was their attempt to play around with this King's Quest formula. Like in my head, StairQuest was Peasant's Quest plus Papers, Please.
Right.
I was like, I want it to look like Peasant's Quest, but I want it to be a frustrating game loop in the way that Papers, Please is, which is a weird melange of ideas, but that's what I was going for. But yeah, huge fan of this too. And as I said, I feel like these games really do a great job of capturing this. And something that's nice. I mean, these games, like a lot of early Telltale games, come out for the WiiWare. The WiiWare. WiiWare. WiiWare.
WiiWare.
WiiWare. They come out for the WiiWare, unlike, say, the Monkey Island games, where you can really see where they had to cut corners on some of the models and things like that to fit them onto the WiiWare. The simpler graphical style of Homestar Runner makes them, and smaller cast and, you know, sort of flat vector style and everything, makes for a much smoother translation to this engine and this format and this distribution platform, in that it really feels like the Homestar Runner games come to life in a really fun way, in a way that was very satisfying at the peak of Homestar Runner mania, to get to play these games.
So here's the thing. I didn't play this game when it came out because it was past. I was done with Homestar Runner at that point.
Wow, you moved on from it.
I moved on. Homestar Runner was something I really enjoyed from, I would say, probably 2002 to like 2005 5 or 6. And so by the
Mhm.
time,
Kind of like Americans enjoyed the Iraq War for
yeah,
that same short
and
period.
and by the time that like this came out, I was just kind of like, ah, that's old hat. Like I was just kind of like, all right, like I've been Homestar Runnered out.
Yeah.
Um and um like so the so it was fun revisiting these games because or not or visiting these games because um I've never played them, it was visiting like old friends. And also like to your point, it looked and felt like you were playing just a Homestar Runner animation because yeah, like the capabilities of the Telltale tool and were about on par with the capabilities
Yeah.
of Adobe Flash.
That's right. Because already, like early Telltale games were pushing the limits of the Telltale tool. Like already by tells of my account, it's like, oh, I don't think this thing can handle much more. And then they strap so much more on it in subsequent years. This game is one of the few games that ever feels like it runs beautifully in this engine. It's right on target.
and it does feel like, I don't quite know. I don't know the history of all of the various Telltale games, but it does feel like this is one of the most, if not the most integrated with the original property of any Telltale game. Because as I said, it just feels like you're in the Homestar universe. Like it does not
Yeah.
feel like it's like, oh, it's like a Batman game and it's made by people that like Batman and they're writing a Batman story. it,
Yes.
it just feels like, no, this is this.
Yeah. This is part of the Homestar Runner universe. It feels canonical as you're playing it. It doesn't feel like,
Yeah.
yeah,
As
our take on.
canonical as, like a silly flash cartoon can be. It is the over the 5 episodes I played, 1, 4, and 5. Like the first episode is very like kind of straightforward, kind of just setting the table, normal, like kind of a like as plain as a Homestar Runner short would be. It's like, oh, you want to beat Homestar in a race, and in order to do so, you have to disguise, like you want to ruin his day, and by doing so, you disguise yourself as him, and uh, oh, I'm screwing up the story. It's
No,
you
you're right.
sabotage him in a
You
race, and
sabotage
then
him.
he's so
He
sad about it.
despondent. Yeah.
He's so despondent that then you go win the race dressed up as him.
Yeah, because the idea is he has been disgraced as part of this and is despondent and living on Strong Bad's couch. And to get him out of his house, Strong Bad has to redeem his reputation. So it's very much a do these 3 things to get this problem solved. I mean, it feels, very much like paint by numbers sort of adventure game in a good way. I don't think this is a criticism. I suspect for a lot of people playing this is the first narrative adventure that many, if not most, had probably ever played. I'm guessing that this brought in a lot of fans to the genre that maybe had never played a game before, maybe never played another game after this.
I
But
don't know. I wonder, because it's like the world of like the reference level of Homestar Runner includes like adventure games and
it
AGI games and
does.
King's Quest, and so I
They're a big
wonder,
part of it.
like there's part of it, like there's a lot of Atari 2600 in the
Yeah.
DNA of Homestar, which these games all reference, especially the last one. 8-bit is enough. um but like in the first game, in the first episode, you can play Snake Boxer 5, And
which is very much the Atari 2600 like top down boxing game with the wild swinging arms and everything. Yeah.
and yeah, like it's funny because like the first one is very, that first episode is also, as you said, very kind of paint by numbers, a Telltale episode, which is like there's a first section with a couple puzzles, and then you have a big open world where you have to solve three puzzles that are kind of bigger, and then you have a final, uh, you know, linear string,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is like that's how a lot of their episodic,
Yeah.
like Tales of Monkey Island did that. Sam and Max did that. And then like as the episodes went on, they would get weirder and often kind of play with that, and then but kind of not play with that. Like they would kind of break from form a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good way to think about this. I mean, yeah, well, you can see a lot of the patterns, and I mean, as always, in a 5 episode season, as is the Telltale norm, I think episode 4 is probably the strongest of the bunch. But all of these are fun. They're all playing with different
Episode
aspects
4
of.
is really funny.
Yeah, episode 4 is it's Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people. Episode 4, Danger-esque 3, the criminal projective. So Danger-esque is Strong Bad's cop who doesn't play by the rules. He is wearing aviator shades and jumping out of windows and other. It's like the Beastie Boys sabotage video in Strong Bad form, is essentially what Danger-esque is all about. It's like a Lethal Weapon style cop. And this one is really fun. You're essentially playing through a Danger-esque movie. So every Homestar character is playing a character within this movie within a game.
and also like you are watching the movie, and so you see like kind of like the camera being handheld, and also you'll see like VHS artifacting, and you'll see like bad edits and
Mhm.
like poor stunt photography, and you'll see like someone going like, oh, am I supposed to go? Oh, go. Like
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Lots of
They
Coach Z not sure what to do.
I mean, uh I is it Coach Z that calls him Danger Skew? Which is
Yes.
this is okay. This is, I think, and if anyone knows anything about like my like type of humor, there's a lot of in Homestar Runner mispronouncing words, and it makes me laugh every time. And maybe like I've always kind of thought that that was a thing where I was just like, oh, that's something that Matt Berry does a lot, which he does. Like
Yes.
that's a lot of his humor. But now replaying these games, I was like, oh, but they mispronounce words constantly. They constantly do malpropisms and stuff like that in this game. And so I'm like, oh, maybe maybe it came from this. Him, Coach Z going danger skew.
No, it's wonderful. And I mean, for me, going back now, it's like, gosh, I have so much affection for these characters. To go back and replay these games, it's like, I like spending time with Coach Z, Coach Zed, as he's called, for our listeners over the pond.
There's a lot of also, and the they kind of index heavily on this in the first episode, and then kind of it becomes less a big deal. But they play around with some, they have some interesting ideas that they play around with. One is that you create the map as you play. There's a world
Yes.
map, and you just get stickers, and you can point them anywhere on the map as to, it's like, all right, well, Strong Bed's house is in this corner, and then all of this is in other corners. And it's like, that's kind of fun. Like it's just a cute little thing. There are collectibles that you can get in little like the episodes try to I you know I think it's two things. The episodes try to give you a little bit of like each one has like a little like counter of little things that you can collect.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Dangerous, it's like find all the references to famous actors, and it will count up as you find them.
Yes.
Um, and uh, like you know, I think that's both like them, just kind of having fun, and it's like, oh, what's an interesting thing we could do, and I think it's also maybe maybe I'm just throwing something on this, maybe I'm wrong here, but there's part of me that's just kind of like, are they like, is this also kind of representative of like kind of a reaction to uh people that felt that those um like Telltale games, especially then, were a little too too light, not enough meat on the bone. So it's like, well, yes, you can solve all of these puzzles, and we're going to make it a little easier because this is made for like an audience which is, to Jess's point, might not have played a lot of adventure games. But if you're a true adventure person, you're going to have to find all of the like all of this extra stuff.
Yeah, and it might add some replayability to a genre that's known for lacking replayability. I mean, these games don't have really branching paths or anything like that that would allow you to like see
No
a
one's
lot of
remembering
different stuff.
anything, as he said.
No, again, they haven't invented that technology yet for characters to remember things.
Yeah.
So instead, yeah, I feel like this is a way to get some of that replay value. You go back and you find all the hidden Teen Girl Squad comic panels and some things like that. All these episodes have mini games that are oftentimes sort of like Atari 2600 8-bit style
None of them
games,
are fun
and
to play.
none of them are great, but then again, games back then weren't. Those Atari games aren't very fun to play either. But they're yeah, take that.
I just gave Jess a look.
Take
Those
that.
are classic.
Atari. No, they aren't, Ben. They're all garbage. They're garbage,
classics.
Missy. No way. Nothing on that platform is good except E.T. Come at me. I dare our listeners to tell me that E.T. isn't a fantastic game, which I owned, Ben. I owned a copy of E.T.
I don't think, we had a lot of 2600 games, but I don't think we had ET. We were very much a Activision, like, because those, I mean, I don't know, River Raid, come on, you can't.
Nah, I mean, Activision was pretty good. I mean,
River Raid was really good. Pitfall, both of the Pitfalls.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, Activision was doing
Capers.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Keystone Capers. Kaboom. You gonna look me in the eye and tell me that Kaboom is bad?
I've only played Boom Blocks, its spiritual successor.
Excuse me, that's I don't recognize.
I'm sorry. I thought you rephrased that. Steven Spielberg's Boom Blocks.
Oh, that game.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I misspoke originally. I'm curious. Do you think it would be possible for a human being who is not steeped in Homestar Runner and Strong Bad and the gang to come into this game and enjoy it still?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
I don't either. I really can't imagine. Like, I can see it's like somebody looking at was, what is this? Why is there a big round guy bouncing around and making bubble sounds?
I mean, I think they could figure that out. I think they like. I don't think people are just going to be perplexed. But I think the game definitively, like, the game assumes that you are fond of every character and you know who they are. Like,
yes.
The game assumes that what's the name of that weird guy that Strong Bad has play his father?
Senior Card Gauge?
Yeah, like the game expects you to know.
Menendez. Congratulations.
The game expects you to know who's Senior Card.
I'll hit you on the slant.
Like the game just kind of assumes, like, I mean, it's a game made for it's a game made
Sickos.
for the fans. But like I think you could probably like, I think you could probably play it and just, I don't, because it's funny, 8-bit is enough, which I like literally was just playing right before this, like we started recording, like begins with the I'm gonna say a pretty good joke, which is that like the Trogdor arcade cabinet that Strong Bad has breaks, and Strong Sad looks at it and goes like, it looks like the fan in it is defective. It needs to be serviced. And like Strong Bad just hammers the line, "Are you saying that this needs fan service?" And then like it's all like Trogdor references
Yeah.
and stuff. Like the game knows what it is and
Yeah.
who's playing it. Like it just,
Yeah.
like in the it's funny. Like 8-bit is enough. That last one, which I just, as I said, just finished playing. It's not only all like, it's like, all right, well now you get Trogdor, the most
Mhm.
popular.
And if you don't
Trogdor and
know
like
Trogdor,
Teen Girl Squad are like
yeah,
probably the two most popular things, right?
yeah. I mean, yeah, Trogdor was a man.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was a dragon man.
All right, okay, I'm
Yeah.
cutting you off.
Yeah,
And
no. Yeah, it is the fan servicey. I mean, all of these are somewhat meta. Like Strong Bad will comment on tropes of the adventure game genre as he is enacting those tropes. Not in the annoying way you see sometimes where, a video game character in a very meta game is like, this sucks, but you have to do it anyway. But there's meta, and I think this really gets like dialed up to 11 in 8-bit is enough. This final episode where it really is just like, get ready for fan service. We're bringing out all of our most
this
popular
is the last
concepts.
one. There's probably never going to be a like a high profile to this level Homestar Runner video game. So here's just something for you, the
Yeah,
fans.
that's right.
Like, because it's like they did make, and I know you want to talk about this a little bit, like they did make a Peasant Quest game that you can play on their website that is in the style of like a full text parser King's Quest 1 AGI game, which is pretty cool.
It is. It's pretty awesome. I mean, it's a decent little game. It's fairly long. It's pretty, pretty clever. It is. It's a game I really love. And like I said, for me, it was a huge inspiration. I mean, I don't know why it never occurred to me that you could do really fun things just by copying the technical presentation of these games and then adding in some of that twisted humor that I love. But yeah, I mean, I adored it. And also it's like it's speaking to my childhood. I think we've talked before on this podcast about how weird it is to be the kid who's like pop culture touchstone is the Sierra games that everyone else at your school is busy playing whatever the cool console game is or whatever. Yeah. It's always fun to be like, oh my God, you're somebody who like this is a cultural reference for as well. But I fell in love with that. Later on they would do they did some other like short point and clicky type things on the website. Yeah. They would release what they called roomisodes, which were basically like short 1-room 2D adventures that are all quite good. Those are available on Steam now. They have a Halloween point and click adventure.
Yeah.
Like there are a number of smaller Strong Bad Homestar Runner point and click adventures out there, or in the case of Peasant's Quest, a parser driven game. But this is the most ambitious. Like you said, I think you get the feeling they felt, we're going to get one swing at this one. Let's just give everybody everything we can, give them all the fan service they could ever want. And that's charming because this is the sort of property, that's what you want out of it. You don't want a subtle deconstruction of the Homestar Runner mythos. You want to see your favorite characters doing wacky stuff.
Yeah. And it's like, like this was the only moment that Telltale would make a type of game like this, because pretty soon after, like not soon after, but like you have Jurassic Park in 2011, You have
Fantastic game.
you have Back to the Future in 2010, which is fine. I seem to recall watching you play it and
Yeah,
going
it's
like,
fine.
"It's
It's
fine."
fine. It's pretty charming.
Like they start going after bigger licenses pretty soon after. And so it's like you can't imagine the company, making The Walking Dead and the Game of Thrones games, making another Homestar Runner. Like as popular as Homestar Runner was,
He's no Batman.
yeah, he's no Batman. He's not a Guardian of the Galaxy.
No, not even like any of the bad sequels. Not even by the time you get to Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and they're letting anybody in there.
Yeah.
Homestar Runner's still not a member.
But like, so I don't know. It's such an odd duck of a game. There's also like some stuff in there that feels like, an 8-bit is enough. There's a section where like Strong Bad's house is haunted by ghosts and you control like a flashlight as you
Yes.
look around. It's very obviously a Wiimote thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like let's do. Did you play this on the Wii?
I think I may have played the first episode on the Wii and then followed up and played the rest originally on PC and then replayed again on PC. So I think I did. The first episode was probably free. Does that sound right? Is that when Telltale was still giving away? I think it might have been. I think it might have been a free sample first episode, or maybe it was pretty cheap. I played that one. And like a lot of things, I was like, this is great. It'd be better without Waggle.
I wonder if it had like if they did anything fun on the Wiimote speaker.
That's a good question.
Seems like something they would have done.
It does, and a feature that was underutilized. I could see that being something
it was like so fuzzy and crappy sounding.
Yeah.
The game I remember on the Wii that had the most that did kind of the most fun with it was if you ever played No More Heroes, you would get phone calls on it sometimes.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I think Dead Space Extraction, which was like a really cool rails shooter based on the Dead Space games, which I love that game. Like one of my favorite Wii games of all time.
Yeah,
it's surprisingly decent for a rail shooter, which isn't a genre I'm like drawn to. But the Wiimote does those sorts of games very beautifully. That's sort of a perfect marriage of tech and game design. And if I recall, that one did some comm stuff through the speaker as well, which added nicely to the spooky survival horror atmosphere of it all. But yeah, I wonder too. I don't remember from the first episode I played if it had anything there, but it does feel like the kind of game that might have fun playing with that.
Yeah.
So that's our segment on a feature that may or may not exist in this game. We don't know.
Their next game was the Wallace and Gromit one, which you don't really hear that much about.
I haven't played. I mean, I know of Wallace and Gromit, but it's not like a property that I'm like hooked into necessarily. I think I own that one.
I like Wallace and Gromit. I never played these games though.
Yeah.
I have very little to say. Moving on from a hypothetical thing to a game I've never played.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Do you have anything?
But you love games with clay characters. We have established this before.
Yeah, that's I love Clay Fighter. Now
you did Fighter 64.
That's right,
and the Blockbuster Video exclusive special edition of Clay Fighter 64.
Do you have any other thoughts on Homestar Runner or Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people?
Really charming, fantastic game. I mean, I think that this is one that I have really fond memories of. I enjoy a lot of the Telltale catalog, and this, I think, at the time they came out, I missed the Sam and Max games. I didn't play any of those. I believe that. I can't recall if I played this or Tales of Monkey Island first, but this is one that really sold me on Telltale. Like I just felt like this is one that really woke me up to the idea. It's like, okay, they're doing some pretty neat stuff, and it really set me up to enjoy what came down the road from there.
That's it's funny. Yeah, this is just one I did not play until now, and I will probably. Like I was talking with Grayson, we'll probably stream this at some point. soon, because I was just having fun, and I feel like it might be a fun little. I think it might be a fun little game for us to play, because it will we'll get to re it will be fun to revisit.
It will unlock good memories with viewers. I think I mean, when I've streamed it, it was definitely a feel good game. Like, people loved coming in and quoting their favorite bits, and just, talking about Homestar and where it fit into their lives. And I think that it's definitely a great streaming game in that regard.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Quest, the Adventure Game Podcast. You can send us an email at questquestpodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a 5-star review. Thank you. That helps people find this podcast. Or at least, tell a friend. And join us. You know what? I think, maybe, let's do a podcast next week too. You know what?
Okay. Yeah, no, this is,
you know what? Same time to record.
I'm available, but what are we going to talk about?
Well, I just want to make sure. Same time to record. You know what? I think next week, when we record a podcast of Quest, the Adventure Game Podcast, the podcast
on these microphones,
with the microphones, using this recording system that we record our podcast into. I think we should probably talk about. We should finally get around to, I don't know, Space Quest 4, Space Quest 4. All right, so Jess, I have an important Space Quest 4 question for you.
Yeah. I like to talk Space Quest 4.
Yeah. So here's a question. Why would Sludge Vohall go into the past if Roger Wilco has already been dealt with? Does that mean that by the time of Space Quest 12, that Roger's already gone and Vohall's rage is unquenched and needs an outlet?
Yeah, I think this is absolutely a situation where, if Roger's already dead by Space Quest 12 and you're a ruler of time and space, or whatever Vohall claims to be, I think this is just a classic revenge story. It's Vohall's revenge.
Who's he revenging against? Because
he's revenging
if Roger's gone.
Everybody who loves Roger, like all of us.